Masachet Baba Batra Daf Nun Vav Amud Bet by the Gemara, 3 lines from the top. Matatin Dor Rabbi Akiva. The Mishnah does not follow like Rabbi Akiva. What does that mean? The Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yossi holds, כשלח אבא חלפת אצל רבי יוחנן בן נורי למות תורה ואמר לה רבי יוחנן בן נורי אצל חלפת למות תורה. Two versions of what exactly happened. They told him, someone used the property for 3 years. The first year before one set of witnesses, second year in front of another set of witnesses, and the third set before another set of witnesses. What's halakha? Can they combine or not? Amar Allah, he said it's a good hazakah like our Mishnah. Amar Allah, he said, I agree with you, but Rabbi Akiva disagrees. Rabbi Akiva holds that the word davar in the pasuk regarding testimony, you have to testify fully, but not half. And therefore, our Mishnah does not allow to split up. Rabbi Akiva disagrees and says it's considered a half testimony and you can't split it up. What about Hachamim? How do they learn the word davar and not a half a testimony? How do they still say they're able to split up the hazakah? Where it says, if you want to tell me maybe the Hachamim are just going to exclude a different scenario, right? Regarding testimony about a girl. Is she of mature age or not, of 12.5/13 years old? She has to have 2 hairs in the same spot testified by 2 edim. So if, let's say, you have one witness saying that there was 1 hair on her belly, and 1 on her back, one witness saying 1 on her back, that's definitely not the chidush that teaches you half a testimony, because not only is it half a testimony, it's also half a matter. Meaning, you need 2 witnesses for each hair, and you have 1 witness for each hair over here. So what's it talking about? Half a matter according to Chachamim. It's coming to exclude the case where you have 2 witnesses saying there's 1 hair on her back and 2 witnesses saying 1 on her belly. In that case, it doesn't count, because each one is testifying on half the requirement. Okay, what have we done? If you have 1 witness saying that the guy ate wheat for 3 years, and 1 witness saying he ate barley for 3 years, you can combine. So it sounds like even if they're talking about different years, well, if you're telling me that the guy who testified on 3 years of wheat, 3 years of barley, talking about different years, so if I bring 1 witness testifies 2 years, 1, 3, 5, and I bring another witness testifies 2, 4, 6, is that a good hazakah? Of course not. So how can that work? You can't compare those cases. Hatam, in the case where you just mentioned the alternating years, the witnesses is not overlapping the years. But regarding the 2 different types of things that they're testifying on, they're both talking about years 2020 to 2023. So why they're disagreeing on what the guy actually used in the property is because Ben Hidi was already allowed to do the inchi, because sometimes the guy will get confused between wheat and barley. One guy thought it was barley, one guy thought it was wheat, but they're talking about the same thing, and it's a good testimony. Okay, the last part of the Mishnah says, 3 brothers testifying. We said this at the end of the Mishnah. 3 brothers testifying regarding the hazakah, 1 in each year, and another guy can join these brothers separately through the 3 years hazakah. So Reuven, Shimon, Levi brothers testifying in years 1, 2, 3, and Yisachar is testifying with each brother as a good testimony. Was one time in the document. There's 2 witnesses signed on it. Shachif had minayo. One of the witnesses in the document died. A brother of the witness that was alive came forward and brought someone with him. And he wanted to testify on the dead guy's signature. Ravina thought maybe it's good, because it's like similar to our case. Instead of you have brothers and 1 guy is joining up, right? Because right now what's going on is you have 1 guy who's signed, his brother, and another guy is testifying on the second witness. But that doesn't count, because why? You can't compare. Regarding our Mishnah, the 3/4, 75% of the testimony is not coming from the brothers. Rather, it's 50%. In the case of the loan document, 3/4, 75% is coming off, because you have 1 guy testifying on his own signature, and his brother plus someone else is testifying on the second signature. That's 75% of the money coming off brothers. Okay, new Mishnah. The following things that you do hazakah works. Also things that don't work as hazakah. If someone puts their animal in the courtyard of someone else, if I put an oven, millstone, or a stove in the courtyard, that's not like a permanent structure. If I raise chickens in your courtyard, if I put manure in your courtyard, in the courtyard, in a hazakah, it's not a good hazakah. If, however, let's say instead of putting my animal there, I made a divider as well, a partition, 10 tvachim high. Also, if I put a partition for the oven, stove, millstone, or stove, if I brought the chicken into the house instead of the courtyard, or I made a spot for my manure 3 tvachim high or 3 tvachim deep into like a ditch, that's more substantial to chazakah. What's the difference between the partition or just placing? Any act of chazakah that would acquire a hefker property of a ger will also acquire from your friend as chazakah. But anything that you would not be a chazakah in the owner of this property of a ger, also won't acquire from your friend as a chazakah. That's why the first cases worked and the second cases did not work. Or vice versa. The first cases did not work and the second cases did work. 1 second. Is that the formula? That doesn't make sense. We know we had it earlier in the Masechet, plowing a field. You can acquire a ger's property by plowing. However, you don't acquire your friend's property by doing plowing. And also in the reverse, eating fruits. You can acquire your friend's field by eating the fruits. We saw that earlier as well that the lady ate the fruit tree. She didn't acquire it. So we see that eating by a ger is not koneh. So it's not a clear-cut formula that it's always parallel. The Gemara says, our Mishnah is talking about a case where they are talking about a partnered courtyard. Because if I just put my item there, they're not machmir, they don't care. I'm a hitzah kapti, but if I constructed a divider there, that's people will be upset about. That's people will protest about, and therefore, if I do that, then I can get a chazakah. A guy sharing a courtyard won't care if you put something there. But Mishnah says, if someone who made a neder, someone made a vow that the partners made a vow that they can't benefit from each other, you cannot enter to the other guys to the courtyard that they share. So we see that putting something in the courtyard is something that people will object to. So again, we still don't have an explanation. Over here we're talking about a case where it's not the regular courtyard, but rather it's a courtyard behind the house. And the courtyard that's shared behind the house is a place where I don't care if you put something there, but if you put a partition there, I would mind, and therefore if you do that, you can make a hazakah. Rapapa, this is a different explanation. Really talking about, yeah, they are partners. We asked earlier, but we see by neder that if they will be machmir, and therefore you can't enter it. If you made a neder, if you vowed that you can't benefit from each other, where it says regarding money matters, we are lenient, and therefore if I put my item there, we're lenient. I don't care. Leave your thing there. You can't make a hazakah with that. Regarding isur. Our Mishnah is worried about vows, for example, like the case of neder, and therefore you cannot enter my property even though you're not putting up any partitions. And another explanation, really people, we don't have to go that far. People are not machmir about putting stuff in your property. V'hamani, who's our Mishnah according to regarding the vows? Rabbi Elazar says, "Afilu vitur isu asur b'midur hana'ah." Even things that generally people won't mind, i.e., putting something in your property, once you make a vow that you're not to have benefit from each other, you make a neder on each other, then you can't even have that simple pleasure of putting something there, and therefore you're not allowing someone else to put there, and therefore in that case you can't put it there. But in general, you can without making chazakah.